now everything makes me wanna leave this place and roam. Make me feel alive. Take my hand and run, let me be the one. Let's just take the dive. Night's only begun, don't you think we're done? 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 Knew that it was true from the way you looked at me. At me. Don't know what to do, what to say to make you leave with me. Make me feel alive. Take my hand and run, let me be the one. Let's just take the dive. Night's only begun, don't you think we're done? 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 Make me feel alive. Take my hand and run, let me be the one. Let's just take the dive. Night's only begun. Don't you think we're done?
Sometimes I'm selfish, get jealous. I feel a little helpless. My whole world has shifted again. You made a promise, I kept it. Now I'm second guessing. My whole world has shifted again. Now I drive back to an empty home, and it's setting in. Now that your things are gone, what have I done? Was everything worth this? I guess I deserve this. Oh, I do
I don't wanna say anything, cause if I do I might say the wrong words. Oh no. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I'd lose you if I didn't. Till we find what we're missing and compromise. So I'll keep my shoes on and not leaving. We're on thin ice, winter season. Can't we find a single reason not to say goodbye? Oh, if I said what's on my mind, would you stay with me tonight? If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. Oh, would that make you run and hide? Don't know what to do anymore. I'm out of options, nothing's working. I'm out of service. Come help me now, I'm fucking nervous. I'm trying but can't scratch the surface. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I'd lose you if I did.